We had a fun game in Boulder on Saturday night. It was good to watch the guys play. Unlike last year with Kansas State, they were ready to play. They played hard. They played physical, and we got a quick start offensively and defensively to the game, and came back out the second half and did the same. So it was a lot of fun, and it was good to see Michael Huff there. I'm sure they've had a tough week out in Oakland with a coaching change and all that kind of stuff, but it was good to see him on the sidelines, and he's really so supportive of the kids, and especially the defensive backs. And Michael has always been a guy who calls them and texts them and stays in touch with them, so that's really, really good for him. Defensively, we were very good at sudden change. Sudden change to us means that the offense has a turnover, and the ball's inside, usually the red zone, and defense is sitting over there making their plans, and we have to scream to get them out on the field. And they came out and forced 3 field goals by Colorado, and they missed all 3, which was very, very good for us. We had 5 3-and-outs, 3 downs and outs by our defense, which kept them off the field, and those guys didn't have to play as much. We're really doing a good job getting after the quarterback. There were 3 sacks, 11 hits on the quarterback, so 14 times we made the quarterback uncomfortable in his passing setup, and made him move his feet, and makes it more difficult for him to throw. And we had 4 batted balls. We only had 3 missed tackles for the game that led to 43 yards after contact. They had 5 explosive plays, but 3 of them were on the last drive against our younger guys. We weren't as pleased with the way the young guys played when they went in there. So they really had 2 explosive plays for the first 3 quarters. Red zone, we stopped them 2 out of 3 times. The one time was disappointing because we had a 4th and 10 and did not make the stop. Third down, we weren't as good. They had 2 or 3 third down and 1 situations that they converted, which is tough, but we also let them have a couple of 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8, and then we forced 2 turnovers. Most productive players on defense, Roy Miller and Blake Gideon, played really, really well throughout the night, so we're pleased with both of those young guys. Ball hawks, which means they did something to knock a ball loose. Jared Norton, Aaron Williams continues to play well, Roy Miller, and Rashad Bobineau. The Hard Hat Award went to Curtis Brown on the kickoff, where he really lit the young guy up over on the Colorado boundary. Offensively, we had 9 explosive plays. In fact, our top 3 receivers, Jordan Quan and Chris Obanaya, are averaging more than 14 or 15 yards per reception, so they're doing a good job with some explosives there. We were 4 of 4 in the red zone again. I think we've scored 24 out of 25 times. The 3rd and shorts were not good. We got stuffed a couple of times on 3rd and short in 2 tight situations, which was really, really disappointing for us. There were no offensive penalties the second time this year, and we had a great drive after Colorado scored their 7 points in the 3rd quarter. Offense came back out after turning the ball over and drove the length of the field in 4 plays and scored, and good teams need to answer. Our most productive player was Chris Obanaya. He played really well again. His total yards were impressive with the receptions and his running yards. And maybe the most impressive thing he did after the long interception that they run back down to about the 20-yard line, he chased the guy down, knocked him out of bounds. Our defense holds. They miss a field goal. So that really might have been a 14-point swing in the ball game, and at that time was very important. The best offensive lineman, the boss hog, was Cedric Dockery this week. First time for him, so we're pleased with him that he's coming along. Biggest contributor was Colt McCoy. I thought the first play was fabulous, where he stepped up, got up near the line of scrimmage and threw the ball out to Chris for a 60-plus yard touchdown pass. And the great plays throughout the night came from Jordan Shipley. We're really pleased with Jordan. He's averaging over 15 yards per catch and made a couple of screen plays and turned them into first downs that were really critical for us. Special teams, we had 3 punts dead inside the 20-yard line, 5 out of 5 on extra points, had a 46-yard field goal, and really proud of Hunter Lawrence. He was the special teams player of the week because he continues to do really, really well. I do want to thank the Colorado medical staff and the Highway Patrol for taking such good care of Sally after she fell. They did a great job, and I know we don't release injury reports till Friday, but I'm going to say that it looks good for her to make the game on Saturday. I will break our rule. She is probable. Definitely Saturday afternoon she was doubtful. No question. I told her to get tougher. No, I didn't say that. So.
Coach,
Off the record. No.
You've been on both sides of this rivalry, offensive coordinator for OU in the early 80s and head coach here. Is this the greatest rivalry you've ever been a part of? And just talk about the differences of being on that side, being on the side you've been the last 10 years.
It is a great rivalry, and rivalries usually are determined by the section of the country people live in. If you go talk to the Georgia and Florida people, they're going to talk about that rivalry, and it's the only one. If you go talk to Southern Cal and UCLA. So my experience is I've moved a lot, and I've been around in college football. Everybody thinks theirs is the only one. Army, Navy is pretty big to those folks. So this is really big to us. It's really big to Oklahoma. I have been fortunate to be on both sides of this, like Coach Royal, and see what it means to both teams. And it's even bigger when both teams are really, really good like they are this year. And it's good for college football, and it's good for the Big 12 and this part of the country that both teams are really good this year, and it should match up to be a great game.
Coach, obviously there's been a lot of great quarterbacks in this series over the years and in your time here, but since you got to Texas, is this the best quarterback matchup you've seen in this game?
Boy, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I don't see how it could be any better. And if you look at stats, and I know stats get skewed now because second-teamers are in there, and when did you pull them out, and all those, who do you play? But these two guys have just been on fire. They're unbelievable the way they're playing and leading their team. And I go back and look at this game over our 11 years here and my 1 year at Oklahoma, and it's really impressive when a young quarterback can come into this game and play well because of the pressure surrounding the game and the matchup. And Colt has done it for 2 years, and Sam did it last year. So for those two young guys to have that presence in this game for the first year says something about their toughness, their character, and their leadership.
Coach, is this a year where both teams are so good, the team that wins is going to be the one that doesn't make mistakes?
Yes. Last year was a really, really tight game. We had the 2 turnovers. They didn't have any. They forced the 2, and both of them were at times where we were going in to score. The year before, they had the turnovers, and we protected the ball well and didn't have any. So if you look at the last 2 years of this game, we've split, and it's been about turnovers and kicking game. It's going to be a tough game. Both teams are going to play hard. Both teams are going to play well. It'll be a real physical ball game, and it's usually, as I said, it comes down to turnovers.
Coach, last year both of you guys came in with a loss, but it seemed to motivate both teams to win that much more. This year, it almost seems like it's the same thing, but just in a different way.
This is a better motivation. Both teams slipped last year, and in fact, we really used the OU-CU game last year at halftime, because the week before the Oklahoma game, Colorado came back and won last year, and we used that as motivation at halftime to say, look, now, this is where we were sitting there behind with Kansas State this time last year. Colorado was ahead about like we were. It was 21-point lead and lost. So it's so good for this game and for everybody involved that both teams are coming in off of a high and a really good performance because they dominated Baylor as well, rather than coming in last year like both teams did limping in.
Are you going to miss the tunnel?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to miss the tunnel?
Oh, I didn't even know it was gone. I figure they'll still have a place for us to run out, and that's the tunnel to me. So we haven't seen the new stadium. That'll be interesting too, but it won't matter. I think we got a few more people, and there'll still be a lot of people screaming when you run on the field.
Coach, ESPN said they thought DeMarco Murray may have lost a step. Have you seen any indication of that, and how do they use him?
Well, they probably haven't watched him as much as I have. I think he looks really good to me, and the 70-yard run he had last year that changed the game. He's just a great football player. He can catch, he can run. There's a play where TCU blitzes everybody, and he comes scot-free down the middle of the field, and it's a hot situation. And Sam just takes the ball and dumps it to him, and he goes right down to the goal line. So I don't think he's dropped off at all.
How do you get to Bradford and hit him? He seems like he's such a rhythm guy.
They've got a bunch of seniors in their offensive line, and they're really, really good. I'd say 4 or 5 of those guys will be in the NFL next year starting. He is tall. He's athletic. He's a great golfer. He's a great basketball player. He can move. So he's a guy that is really smart. He's heady, and he gets the ball out of his hands fast. And all of their receivers are really good players as well. And the tight end at some point in his career will be in the NFL. So they're just talented, and he gets the ball to them. So they make it very, very difficult to get to him, and they make it difficult to because they're spread and they're no huddle. They make it difficult for you to disguise because they snap the ball so quickly. They're outscoring people 103-3 in the first quarter. with their up-tempo offense. So we're just going to wait and start the second quarter.
Coach,